give, that's what I am. Make no mistake about it. 'Cause the little things certainly mean so much to me. Maybe I should tell you that I have my faults and there are no guarantees. Oh, baby, can't you see? I'm only human. Don't ask me for too much too fast. I'm only human, babe. I'll be so very careful not to ever hurt you. Emotional, that's what I am. Feelings run deep inside me. I trust my heart, and usually it never lets me down. But every now and then I guess I lose my way, like people often do. And that just goes to prove how only human. Don't ask me for too much too fast. Only human. Hey, baby, I'll be so very careful not to hurt you, baby. You know I love you. It's easy to see that I do, and I'll always be the best I can. But girl, I'm just a man. So darling, please be patient. If we both believe, we'll make changes as we go. Oh, I just want you to know how only human. Don't ask me for too much too fast. I'm only human. Oh, I'll be so very careful with you, baby. I'm only human, baby. Don't ask me for too much too fast. I'm only human, oh, baby.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 5 minutes past the hour. This 15th day of July after a weekend of total bedlam and utter chaos. Yours truly, Joe Dupree, in the building, 100 BLK, the Black Station, with my brother from another mother. No, he's been busy all weekend long from the open lines, on lines, and keeping it real with Reverend Al Sharpton, WBLS 107.5 in New York City. Brother Fatim, good morning to you, my brother. How are you doing on this Monday morning?
Well, good morning, brother Joe. Yep, it's been a busy weekend. Excuse me, my brother. We spoke this Saturday afternoon. I was in Baltimore. We just coming off the heels of Essence, coming out of New Orleans, had a family reunion, and then of course this news story broke.
Why is your microphone coming in and out? Is that
I don't know. What
okay?
about now?
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Okay, cool. I got my mic a little farther away from me. It's better.
That's better. It's still seeming like it's coming in and out a little bit. I don't know what's going on. Hold on. See something. Uh, yeah, you seem better. You seem better.
All
Keep
right.
talking.
All right. So, like I said, we spoke Saturday afternoon of what transpired. I'll let you go ahead and set it up, and then we'll jump into it. But of course, when you have a show planned, and especially when you have a mayor of a city that blocks out time for you, you hate to cancel. But I tell everyone that is a guest on that show that we book you. But if there is anything that comes up, we will preempt if necessary. So I'll let you go ahead and set it up. This is a I can't say this is an important morning. I mean, we could be mourning the loss of an individual. Some people don't like this guy. But one of the things as being responsible is that we don't wish death on anyone,
No,
especially on this here. But a slight turn here, a slight turn there, a sharpshooter. We will be having a memorial service for a former president of the United States and a candidate for now would be he would be a former, but he's not. But let you set this story up in the sense of what happened, the person who got caught. We have people, not only the shooter dead, but another person that was there, a firefighter with his family is killed, two other people critically injured. And you don't like to hear these kind of things. A lot of people now are saying that the Secret Service failed him, and there's a lot of questions are being asked about this assassination. It was an assassination attempt on former President Trump. But like yesterday on Open Line, I was responsible. We were responsible on WBLS, where I brought on Brother Aton Edwards and former New York detective, retired detective Mark Claxton. My co-host went right there and said, the rhetoric, the rhetoric. And we've been saying on here, and I'm trying not to get mad this morning, but if anybody comes with that foolishness, y'all that supported this rhetoric and would not put this in check, don't come and blame the Democrats. A lot of people want to blame the Democrats. That's why I had Aton on, because the militia groups, it's a lot of chatter, and they are going after the Democrats. Don't look at us. Don't look at us. Chickens have come home to roost. And when you talk violence and disrespect, when they come back home, don't hide. Don't hide. Don't hide. So those that are out there, and I don't have to call no names. If you come in the chat, and depend on what you say, I will go at you, because this is what we've been saying for the longest. Stop this type of conversation. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. With that being said, Joe, I kick it back to you, man, to set this up.
okay. So I'm gonna let you're really gonna get a lot of different points of view on today's show on this Make It Happen Monday. Um, Sister Jax is a little bit under the weather. She may be coming on soon. Uh, let me say what I need to say from just Joe's point of view. First of all, I think there needs to be a moment of silence for the passing away of the individual who, of no fault of their own, they just left their house. They left their house with one simple thing on their mind. I'm going to go to a rally to support a person I feel like I want to support. which he had had all the right in the world to do that. Let me Jackson's getting ready to come back. I was like, who's had HAD?
Hey
But
Joe,
yes,
hey
sir.
Joe, I stopped you in your middle, and Joe, it's my fault. Douglas Gidry put a point in the chat. Why don't he call in? Because that's the kind of nonsense that we're not tolerating today.
Well, yeah,
Let me just put that thing
yeah.
up there for a minute, because how could you say that, brother? He's talking to me. That's why America's in the predicament it is in, was purely the Democrats' fall. Shame on you, brother Fatim. See, that's the bull crap. And I'm gonna be nice this morning. It's the bull crap that we're not gonna tolerate today. Of course, Joe, we've talked about this numerous times on this show and the shows that I do. And I don't know where you knee-jerk individuals come in that, and I'm not apologizing for what I say this morning.
Hold on.
Well, let it be. Let's go. Because
so let me referee this thing before we start. Okay, first of all, hold on, brother Fatim. I do need to get this out for my soul. Once again, before y'all start with this Republican Democrat bullshit, because that's what it's gonna be. There was a man who lost his life. There are two people that are critical injured. It could have been me or you, just going to do our everyday thing. For that, I want to give a little reverence to that man who left his house with nothing on his mind but going to support whoever it is he wanted to support. And because some demented, probably mentally ill individual with a motive that had absolutely nothing to do with anything winds up shooting into a crowd of folks trying to kill the former president and winds up striking this innocent bystander. Man, we need to pray. We need to put a lot of this rhetoric to the side. We need to stop pointing fingers and blame, because the truth about it is, I'm going to use a President Trump line. Both sides were talking a lot of shit before this happened. So, brother Douglas Gidry, you're welcome to start talking. But before y'all start shooting rounds at each other, because I'm locked and loaded too today. Come on, y'all. This is where we've got to get it together. So, brother Douglas,
well let me start. No, the floor is not his, because he put it on his comment. So that's that. Yeah. So, Joe, a lot of people have been talking both sides. We don't talk violence on the Democratic side. You look at the legislation that we have tried to push dealing with AR-15s. You look at the legislation that we tried to push with bump stocks. They kicked it up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court made their decision. They really kicked it back down to the legislators. If you look at the number of legislations that have been pushed by the Republicans and the Democrats when it comes to gun control in this country, continue mass shooting after mass shooting. I'm not going to sit here and wait to say assassination attempt on Donald Trump. What about those kids that have been shot in Florida? What about the kids all over this country that have been massacred in schools because of mass shootings? We just brought on a brother a couple of weeks ago where his mother was shot in Tops grocery store in upstate New York. And we talk about legislation, and you want to sit here and say this is the Democrats' fault? How are you going to sit here and do Democrats' fault? I'm saying, when you get out there as a presidential candidate, as a party, and don't put checks and balances in when a former president talks about violence, roughing up people, when you arrest people, rough them up a little bit, good people on both sides with the racist march in Virginia, and where the woman lost her life, that is when I say the chickens have come home to roost. And I'm not sitting here. What I'm saying is, don't blame the Democrats. Don't come at us on this, because we have not talked about violence. It's your party, it's your candidate that has talked about violence. And that's all I'm saying. It's not a lot to say. I don't need to go do a litany. And if you want to look at the legislation that the Republicans have pushed in the past 10 years on gun control versus the Democrats, you have nothing to, you don't even have ground to stand on.
Brother Gidry, the floor is yours.
Joe, you stole everything I was going to say this morning. I digress from picking a candidate and picking a party line and picking anything when the nucleus and the premise is a former American president and a civilian was shot and killed, right? So this has nothing to do with Donald Trump or Biden. I think the country has to restore God back in the country. This is a time that we should be praying, and we should put all our differences aside. I don't understand why all the hate on one man for being himself. Here goes the Democrats. And this just catapulted him to winning the election, right? Because he looks like a hero. But I don't understand why all the hate on the other side. Brother Fatim, you said the roosters came to crow. I think that was a quote that Brother Malcolm used during the Kennedy assassination.
Chickens that come home to roost. The chickens that come home to roost. That's the exact quote.
Right. Which is a very repulsive statement to use while the country is going through. And that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. That's the hate that America needs to eradicate.
Oh, that's the hate now. But you didn't check the hate that Donald Trump pushed. No, you didn't check the hate that Donald Trump pushed. You didn't check the hate. Oh, now all of a sudden, because a shot was fired at him, now that's the hate that I just repeated what my co-host said, not quoting her. She basically said, when you push this kind of violence and you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Don't say that I'm pushing this. I'm not pushing this. This man has pushed this. No one time did you come on this show and check Donald Trump for making fun of people that had disabilities. You didn't come on here and check when he talked about roughing people up, and you didn't talk about the hate. So don't come back and put that on us, and don't say that if I say now this shit has come back on y'all that I'm wrong. That's a bunch of crap, and that ain't gonna fly today.
Okay, so let me referee this thing. Brother Gentry, thank you for calling in. Everybody else, y'all are also welcome to call in. Brother Fatim, and we're going to try to make this as civil as that. Thank you for calling in, Brother Gentry. Family, y'all are welcome to call in. 225-250-8770. So let me just once again try to referee this and welcome Jax. I know she ain't feeling the best. I'm going to go to her in a second. I'm going to referee this the best way I can. First of all, we got to stop trying, even though we do commingle certain things. I was really blessed yesterday that somebody called me and had a hard talk. One ain't got to do with the other. It don't. In reality, at the ground level, one ain't got to do with the other. We can all have our opinion, but the facts is one ain't got nothing to do with the other. First of all, fact, Brother Fatim, legislation should have already been put in place that this never happened. Mental health should have been better looked at. Background checks should have been better looked at. There's a lot of things that should have been better looked at. And the facts is the conservative Republican Party has blocked most of that legislation. I ain't talking left and right no more. I'm talking about who the hell gonna jump up and do right. Fact. Now, all of a sudden, you take these experts out from the Democrats where they said that Trump is a threat to democracy. And you say, though it has not been proven, because the shooter who shot at President Trump did not leave a manifesto saying that the reason I tried to kill the former president is because I feel like he is a threat to democracy. You jump up and put words in the shooter's mouth. Shooter ain't said that. To be exact, they haven't even came out with what they feel is the motive that the shooter tried to attempt to take President Trump's life. Though a demented individual who probably has mental issues did try to do a heinous crime that really will bring this country together. And it should, because he shot and unfortunately, here's three things that are going on in now this is your opinion. This ain't Fatima Jackson. I'm getting ready to give it to Jax after this. There's three things that highly disturbs me after this happened. One, how many people jumped out and said, this can't be real. This is fake. That our mindsets is thinking like that. Two, that it was staged. It was fake and it was staged. A man lost his damn life. The hell wrong with y'all? That was somebody's father. That was somebody's husband. That was somebody's friend. That was somebody's brother. I don't give a damn what color he was. And I don't care what he was doing, because he has the right to go and say and be where he wants to be peacefully. So do you and I. Y'all got to get this shit together.
Mhm.
Now, the truth about it is, nobody wants to go back and look at what I said a few shows ago about legislation, about the policies that are in place, and about the rhetoric that came from both sides that caused this incident to come forth. But no, all of a sudden now you want to raise the hand and talk about, look at what so-and-so did and look at what such and such did. Brother Fatim was absolutely correct. I saw a press conference, another talking of our president, President Biden, who I think has done a wonderful job. But President Biden, it's time for you to step down, because in the midst of you saying what you're saying and looking presidential, you started stuttering and everybody was going, go ahead and say it. Make America great again. Come on, family. This is bigger than you and I. This is a time where you got to be human. And none of y'all are being human. Everybody going to their tribal side, rising up their tribal spear and going, let's go to war. Let's go to war. Let's go to war. Not understanding a war right now, a civil war in this country, is going to cause more damage than you could ever imagine, because half of you don't even know how it feels to be on a battlefield. Half of y'all don't even know how it feels to see dead people laying all over the place. Half of y'all don't even know how it feels to go into a combat situation. And half of y'all talk a lot of noise, but let me tell you something. When bombs and bullets starts flying, half of y'all are gonna be some punks and be in the corner going, oh my God, what's really happening? It's called war, damn it. I digress. Sister Jax,
Hey,
welcome.
great day, everybody. And you know what, Joe? That's right. It's called war. So we have to realize also with the young man that was the shooter, many times we'll say when, tragedy happens, we'll talk about mental health issues, which in many cases can be the case, right? But also we have to talk about the spiritual war that's going on. So a lot of this is also spiritual. It's just not physical, or it's not just you have mental health. I mean, this young man took his father's gun. I think it was an AR-15. Took his father's gun and went out and did the carnage that he did do, right? So, he's 20 years old. So this has been manifesting in his life for a while. So it could still have been some sort of wicked spirit on him that still put that in his mind to still do what he did, right? So when those demons get in you, sometimes it can manifest and look like a mental health issue, but it's a spiritual war. And that's what we have to realize. And so like Brother Gidry was saying about bringing God back, right? So it's unfortunate that it appears as though not that God left, but that people left the Most High for the most part. And since then, we have gone through so much. And like Brother Fatin said, it goes back to scripture. You live by you live by the sword, you die by the sword. That's just the law of nature. That's just how it happens. So we really have to dig deep and gain a deeper understanding of what is really going on. Some of this stuff mentally, we're not going to understand why people do what they do. But spiritually, once you tap into that realm, then you gain a deeper understanding of what's going on. And it is unfortunate that those people lost their lives. This young man they just showed on the news, he had bombs as well in his home and in his car. You know what I'm saying? So he planned on doing far more than what he actually did do. So they'll probably find some sort of manifesto, or I'm sure he was on some underground, dark web, posting about it, So some people are just wicked as hell, and like you say, Brother Fatin, like Brother Malcolm said, the chickens have come home to roost.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
That's fact.
Yeah. And, like I can get off of that now because I just responded to that comment. And I'm glad I don't have to say I need to get Eitan on the show because I've had him on. When he came on the open line on WBLS yesterday, he just laid it out. He said, I've been telling y'all this for the longest. So that's why I brought him on. The reason why I bring him on because I didn't want my callers to go off the rails. I didn't want them to do what this just happened, goes off the rails. People say things but don't know. That's why I had a law enforcement officer on, and I had somebody not only dealing with preparedness, and that they talked about even up to that where we're headed, and they want this kind of trigger to create this type of civil war. But where we're at, a lot of y'all don't believe crap stinks until you step in it. And that's what's the problem. When Aton came on yesterday, he basically said, I've been telling y'all this for the longest. I just listened to Chatter. This is what they're talking on one of the hate websites. And he talked about what they're talking about. You remember, let me ask you this. And I hate to do this, but didn't a former president say to a white hate group, the Proud Boys stand by? Didn't he say that? Didn't he say that? Didn't he call them to Washington on January 6th? That's what I'm saying. Look at what's in front of you. Now the bullet is out the chamber. Now what are you going to do? That's the question now. What are you going to do? You can sit here and blame this and blame that, but the whole thing is the atmosphere has led up to where we're going, and this country is going in a place they have never, ever possibly have seen. And that's what I'm trying to talk about. We can sit here and throw accusations now. The damn cat is out the bag and shit is about to drop.
And you know what?
Hold on, Jack.
Mhm.
And I'm going to go right back to you. And we need to face some real realities.
Mhm.
Reality number one. There is, if you poll right now, folks, and I mean everybody, not just a certain group of people, you'll come to find out that 40% of this American electorate and people in America really don't believe what happened was real. Understand that alone can be problematic. Brother Douglas Guidry said something that I'm not 100% convinced of after having some real conversations with some people on both sides, on the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. I don't believe that this assassination attempt made him a hero and made it a slam dunk as time progresses on. Because the fact of the matter is, this is July. And all it takes is something heinous happening within the next 30 or 90 days, and you'll be done forgot all about this. Because understand, this assassination attempt made everybody forget about all the stumbling and bumbling of Joe Biden for a moment. To be exact, nobody was even in a few news cycles even talking about that until he came back and stumbled and bumbled again. Family, this is serious. This is we are literally now fighting for the heart and the soul of this country. And understand, Rome wasn't built overnight, nor was Rome destroyed overnight. And understand, there's not been a great empire or a great civilization that has not had a rise and a fall.
That's right.
Please, I'm praying right now that we're not witnessing and being a living part of the fall of this great nation. Because once again, y'all talk that noise about, America's got to get it. America know they done did it. Baby, we live here. Last time I checked, I'm an American. So if they got to get it, it's almost like saying, I need to cut my right arm off to spite my left arm. No, I understand there's been some wrong things that have happened here. But please, Lord God, not in my lifetime, let me see the literally crumbling and falling of this country, because my grandchild's in this country. My friends and family is in this country. And everybody who's talking about, I can't wait till we get it. Yeah, you say that until you're the person getting it. Half of y'all don't even know how it feels to see arms blown off, children slaughtered in the street. I've been in combat more than once. Family, this ain't a pretty sight. And there's images that never leave your head. You depress it, you hold it back, you hide it, you go to therapy. But let me tell you something. Once you start seeing blood in the street, you never forget how that looks or how that feels. Family, y'all need to stop asking for something that y'all really ain't ready for. Y'all ain't ready for it. So I digress. Sister Jax, the floor is yours.
Hey, Jax, Jax, let me just say one thing real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't Aton say on this show, he said it on Open Line, didn't I say that Aton talked about 9/11 before it happened?
Mm-hmm.
I said that. Didn't he say on this damn show, within 30 to 60 days, something is going to happen in this country? Didn't he say that?
He sure did.
Said that. Didn't he say that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Sister Jax.
Yep. And then even then even something larger to come. Right. So
Yes.
it's just so crazy how, all over the news, channels and cycles, all they keep talking about is, America will not stand for this type of violence. America is not a violent country. And it just bugs me out every time I hear it. Like, just knowing how they slaughtered our people, our natives that were already here, how they were slaughtered, how, they took us from our homeland, and brought us to, all the different countries around the world, and still did such savagery to us, and now they act like America will not stand for this type of violence. America is not a violent country. That is the most hypocritical, double-minded talk I have ever heard in my entire doggone life. It reminds me of, God forbid, your daughter gets raped, right? And then the rapist already has a child, and then that daughter gets raped, and the rapist is like, oh my God, how could somebody rape my daughter? Well, nigga, you going out raping everybody else's daughter. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, how dare you even question something like that? So we have to really understand who we are, right? So we may live in America and be considered Americans, but it goes so much deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? Who are we really? And like we always talk about, those founding, quote unquote, founding fathers, when they founded what was already established, they did it by force. They did it by war. They did it, by wicked ways. So it's not going to change. Like, the faces may have changed, but the spirit is still the same. And the sooner we realize that, the sooner we follow what the Most High says, the sooner we follow what, we keep talking about on our show, Brother Aton talked about. We have to protect our families. We have to protect ourselves, and we have to get in order quick. It is no time to be wasting, because guess what? Joe and I talked about the other day. What if that shooter was a brother, right? What if that shooter was a brother or a sister?
Bruh,
Could you
bruh,
imagine what shit would look like today? Oh my
had,
God.
Yeah.
had that been Tyrone Jenkins
Yep.
or Julio Mendez,
Yep.
all hell would have broke loose. And understand this, y'all, millimeters. It was literally the grace of God and Trump turning his head that right now we're not at a Trump funeral, or we're
That's
not
right.
mourning the death of the 45th president of the United States of America. Understand. Go back and read. See, that's why I love Brother Fatim and I love Sister Jax. We and myself, we read. Go back and read what happened to this country when Lincoln was assassinated. Go back and read at the time of the history when JFK was assassinated, what it did to this country. Go back and read how this country responded after the attempted assassination of President Reagan. Listen, y'all can sit here and say what you want to. Thank God. I was so thankful. When it finally hit me, I said, Lord, I hate that somebody attempted to kill this man, but thank God they were not successful. Because had he had been assassinated, and with the quelling and the mindset of a lot of people in this country right now, all bedlam. If you thought that was bedlam, all bedlam would have broke loose. Because then I would have been fearful for my daughter, my wife, or folk to go to our local grocery store for the fear of somebody running in there going, you black folks had something to do with that. Bang, 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 bang. Because it happened. You can't deny that happened in Buffalo, New York. That happened. That you have demented people who, as Sister Jack say, are not only mentally ill, but have demonic spirits on them. They're just waiting for something to give them permission to go, I've been wanting to kill a bunch of folks like this.
That's right.
It's your fault. And run up into a state capitol or run up into a place with innocent people who have absolutely nothing to do with this. They're just doing their job and say, y'all are Democrats. Bang, 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 bang. Because of this rhetoric. You cannot sit here. Hold it. I got to get this out on Douglas. Douglas, you can't say it's the Democrats' fault. You can't. And that rhetoric will make an individual read that and concur with you. And if they have a demonic spirit on them and mental health issues, that will provoke them to go blow up a government building where, watch this, half the people in the government building are Republicans, not Democrats, because they believe there's some Democrats in the building. Last time I checked, the assailant that attempted to kill President Trump, who is now dead, was a registered Republican. Y'all ain't calling in and talking about that, are you? Wake up with this partisan bullshit. I done told you, I ain't about the right or the left. I'm about to do right. And none of y'all are doing right. So wake up.
That's
Go
right.
ahead.
I'm not that's cool, but I'm not letting all that fly because you got to look at the pattern that led to the door that was bust open. Everything ain't mental illness. And I'm tired of every time somebody go out there shooting is mental illness. It ain't damn always mental illness. People have been talking about that if this man got back in office and looked back at his last presidency, again, I'm watching my words because I'm not pushing nobody's death. But when they feel that this country is headed to a place that they never seen, they will sacrifice whatever they feel they have to sacrifice to do what needs to be done. All of us that are here in the chat, I can't tell you what your thoughts were, but there have been people that thought this. You cannot deny this because we see where this country was going. I look at what Tessa Jackson wrote. She said, so are we supposed to ignore the fact that Trump said during a rally, if he doesn't win the presidency, there will be a bloodbath?
Exactly.
This is the irresponsible rhetoric. And I'm not going to bunch everybody in here. I'm not saying people don't have blood on their hands. But what I'm saying is nobody in the Republican Party, pretty much, except for maybe the Congressman Zinger, that he got out of politics. He didn't run again. That checked this. And also the other sister, I can't call her name right now. But those are the only two Republicans that went after January 6th that were part of the committee that called out Donald Trump. Cheney, thank you. Liz Cheney, thank you. And that you guys that supported this, I don't want to hear from you this morning because you didn't try to check it. When we read, if you, like Joe said, if you want to be part of the Do Right Party, just like we have come out on Biden and said certain things that we don't agree with, certain things that maybe it's time for him to step down. We try to do what's right and the best for this country, not just our opinion, our country. But you guys on the other side don't do that. And then you want to throw daggers this morning. Sorry. I'm not lumping us in there, Joe. You're not going to put us in that pot and stir us all around. We on the outside looking at your asses to stay. Y'all got to get your asses together now. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know where this is going to move. I don't know because a lot of people some people may think that this may motivate people to vote for Trump. But on the other end, people may say every time this guy goes somewhere, he caused chaos. We can't put this man back in office. You see, it can't have that type of domino effect as well. So the Democrats don't need to start blaming them. The Democrats need to go quiet, talk about that we need to try to heal this country, but at the same time, get their party together. They know what they got to do, and they need to do it. Biden did what let me just finish the joke. Biden did what he had to do as a president and a responsible president of doing what he could do. And he came on television and how he got the message across. And like you just mentioned about that, we know what the situation with President Biden. That's why the Democrats got homework to do. We got to get a candidate up there that can lead this country, that can show strength, because it's optics. And if we don't put somebody up there that can show strong leadership now, then we're handing the keys to someone that can take this country even further down this hellhole.
You are absolutely correct, because those who understand marketing, those who understand propaganda, and those who understand optics understand the following. Right now, there are folks out there who are from the highest to the lowest saying President Trump took a bullet and look how he bounced back. See, now comes the picture around all this. Now understand, once again, what should be very disturbing, not only to American people, but to people who understand politics, is you have 40 to 45% of the people who don't believe that this is really actual factual. A lot of folks are really seriously believing that this was staged. Now, I'm just saying that thought train alone can cause a lot of issues come election time, because at the end of the day, people can get mad and people can start screaming and hollering and say, oh, but a man died, this, that, these, and those. Guess what? what a minute cost for a prize of the presidency of the United States of America. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just
And
saying.
you know,
Now,
you know what? Joe?
I'm not
Mhm.
saying what I think has happened. At the end of the day, I think that the 13th, which was a very big day for me because it was my better half's birthday. But I told her from now on your birthday, you can say this was a day that will be infamous in history because this is a day that a person attempted to kill the president of the United States of
Former
America.
president, former president.
Well, former president of the United States of America. At the end of the day, like I said, I just wonder how we would be responding right now if somebody had made an assassination attempt on President Obama or President Clinton or former President Bush. You know, once again, we've got to get human. We got to do right. And I'm just saying it's time for us to look at this. Go ahead, Sister Jack. You were about to say.
Yeah. So I mean, I understand where some people are coming from, where they think it could have been a setup or it could have been staged. Not saying I agree with it, but I do understand where some of their train of thought comes from, right? Because as we know, desperate people do desperate things. So the way the culture of this country is, they will sacrifice their own. They will sacrifice their own just for the greater good of what it is they're trying to accomplish. So if they had to lose one of their own people, they will be willing to do that and say, you know, just count the cost. You know, it's part of war. You know, like we're in a war. This is serious business or whatever. Just to, you know, for the greater good of whatever that person is trying to accomplish. So I hope that's not, you know, obviously not the
Okay,
case.
okay,
But I
hold
do
on.
get when people are saying that.
Hold
That's a
on.
good point, Jack.
Look,
Excellent.
I don't want to be ugly with this.
Thanks.
Today, I love y'all. I love our listeners. I love our followers. If you put some crap in this thread, some crap to try to stir up some stuff, I don't care who you are. You may get blocked and deleted today. That's just where I'm at. I done told y'all this ain't no Republican or Democrat thing. If you're gonna post something showing where Democrats have said things calling for violence and physical confrontation, you damn sure better show where some Republicans have done it too.
So no,
So
Joe.
I
Look, Joe. So first of all, he put up there. First of all, and Reverend Sharpton had to school me on this when we first started doing the radio show, that you got these leaning right-wing conservative newspapers. The Washington Examiner is a right-wing newspaper, so they're going to put out what they want to do and put out their propaganda. So for me, if you put something in the Washington Post, New York Times, and not to say that they're perfect neither, but you know, it's more down the middle. It's one thing. I'm not going to respond to the Washington Examiner, who is known as a tool of the right wing and the propaganda machine. You save me and miss us with that bull.
So stop posting this crap, because at the end of the day, it is factual and actual. We can have different opinions, but we cannot have different facts. Factually, yes, there should not have been said. Though, if you look at why it was said, at the time it was said, it was being perceived that this is a threat to democracy. But you did have an individual said it's going to be a bloodbath. Say that he didn't say it. You can't, because I can play the tape for you. I can play it. There's a person who dealt with the situation that came in Charleston, West Virginia, with the Tiki Torch crew, talking about you will not replace us. There's good people on both sides. He did call for the Proud Boys to stand up and stand by. Come on now. Stop. January 6th happened.
Yeah.
See, so all of a sudden
full page ad on the five boys in Central Park. Now they exonerated 5, and he still will not apologize or saying that they still did something. That's the kind of rhetoric that none of y'all want to stand up against.
But at the same time, when y'all will open up your, yeah, Eddie, I didn't stutter. I meant that. Don't play with me today. Today ain't the day to play with me, brother. I love you dearly, but don't put no crap in this feed from a right wing pushing propaganda for the right. I told you I'm about doing right. You need to get your ass together and start doing right, and stop acting like you're doing right. Giving these damn appearances don't mean shit to me today. I'll lose all of y'all and shut this damn show down. Don't play with me today. I ain't the one to play with. Either you're going to act right and do right and look at your own good self in the mirror. Get your own self together. Brother, hold it. Be exact. You know where I live. Hold it. You can come and knock at my door. We can have a conversation in my living room. I ain't got time to play with y'all today. This ain't no play. I told y'all, I ain't with the left or the right. I'm with doing right.
And you know what, Joe? When you look back at the, I still call him a young man, but I know other people, if he looked different, they would call him a savage and all this other stuff. But the man that tried to attempt to assassinate Donald Trump, right? For him to be 20 years old and have that much hate, we have to think about the type of home he grew up in, right? Because when you even think about the lynchings and all the murders that were bestowed upon our people years ago, those children, children stood there as their parents were drinking beer and cheering and clapping while our families were hanging like strange fruit from those trees, right? So you never know. His dad could have been one of those little kids that grew up in a racist home to be able to receive that type of demonic spirits, right? So now for him to be 20 years old and have that much hate, to have the balls enough to go and try to actually assassinate the president, you know what I'm saying? So there is still so much hate, even though okay, they're the same color, but the messages, the hate that's within and bestowed upon some of these people, for him to actually calculate, and even the place where he shot from, the Secret Service hadn't even checked that place out. So it's gonna be a bunch of drama going on now
Well,
with the Secret
well,
Secret
well,
Service. Uh-huh.
that's not all 100%. Okay, first of all,
Go ahead.
they still reviewing some things. But
Mm-hmm.
let's just get down to the shooter for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Highly intelligent young man.
Mm-hmm.
From what has been said by former classmates, seems to be that he was very lacrucive, lacrosse,
Reclusive.
yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
he was bullied a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So they talking about, man, this is a straight A student. They see once again, we ain't going back to where the truth is. He was a registered Republican.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a Democrat trying to take out Trump because he didn't want Trump to be president because he loved Biden.
But
Yeah,
what they're trying to
nobody.
push is, a few years ago, they trying to say he donated to a Democratic Party or something like that a few years
Okay,
ago. I'm like, he was
okay,
17, he was
okay.
He
17.
So
didn't, and he didn't make TMZ just broke. He tried out for the rifle team in school, didn't make it because he was a terrible shot.
Okay, so watch. And all this, listen, once again, I'm going to say this from the bottom of my heart. As much as I have reservations and issues with former President Donald Trump, I don't wish death on that man.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say that crystal clear. I
That's
don't
right.
believe he needs to be president of the United States, but not to the point that he needs to be in the grave, not
That's
by
right.
an assassination, not by senseless gun violence. That is asinine. And for any
But
of
why
you
do
out,
we? But why do we
and,
do that, Joe? Why do we do this? Why do we? And just, I'm not saying it's wrong, but we keep saying that this country is a violent country, but the world is violent.
We've
Stop.
I got to respond. Oh, I got to respond to this quickly. First of all, let's make something clear here, so that all of y'all can get a clear understanding. When you say, "Dang, Joe, don't let it get to you like that," letting someone from the comment section, this is my show on my dime. I do what the hell I want to on this podcast. I let who come in, who I want to come in. And I've been gracious enough to say, guess what? I'm not going to be ugly like other folks. I'm not going to be a Steve Bannon or other folk who do podcasts and only let they folk talk. I'm going to let everybody talk. But today, you're going to have respect for everybody. And you're not going to put some bull crap and some bull corn out there to make people feel like, oh my God, look at what these horrible Democrats are doing. Because the Republicans are horrible too. The team says it best. If the Republicans are robbing the bank, the Democrats are driving the getaway car, while the independents are doing the lookout. Y'all better get your asses together today. You got the right one, baby. And I said what I said. So, and unless you want to go ahead and spend some money and get your own podcast up, I can literally make it that you don't show your face on this podcast anymore. And if I choose to do that, that's my choice.
That's it. That's a PSA announcement from Joe JD. What I was saying about why do we do this, and I have a conversation with Reverend Sharpton because I need to be calmed down a little bit, because I know the faith leaders came together and said that they need to tone this political hatred down, and I understand trying to do the responsible thing. I really understand that. So I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going that direction. But don't 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 think that we that sat on the sidelines and had to watch a lot of this crap, and then and the other side wants to dish the crap, that we gotta keep our hands tied. I done told people that. I done told faith leaders and all that. Stop trying to tie our damn hands when we're not doing anything. And if we're not doing anything, and then they coming at us, then we gotta be quiet. Hell no, I done told you that. That we all shall overcome and holding hands and getting water hoses and dogs. That shit is over, y'all. That's
right.
over.
Mhm.
That's over. But going back to that, that's why, how do we tone this down and say, this happens. This is a violent country. We say America was founded on violence, and it's nothing but violence that goes on here. Violence happens everywhere. And, and we have more good than bad, but it seems the way the media reports it is more bad. But this is not nothing new across the world. You get candidates that get assassinated. We just had a candidate assassinated a week and a half ago in another country.
Mhm.
What are you talking about? I'm not saying it's right. What I'm saying is that these things don't happen a lot here, but they do happen. We're forgetting about something else. We're forgetting about JFK, younger brother.
Mhm.
Robert F. Kennedy was shot
Mhm.
in the campaign.
Mm.
He was shot and killed.
Mm.
And killed.
Mm.
So these things happen. It's not right. It's not justifiable, but these things happen. And again, Jax, you deal with this. Everything is just, it's how this country thinks and how we feed people.
Mhm.
And you think that you put all this violence around us, and then when you cut the television off, you cut the rhetoric off, that people supposed to go to their 9 and 5, come back home, and then go out there and do their garden or walk their dog. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
This is a very polarized country at this moment. You
That's
can
right.
get on here and say we just need to tone it down. And yes, we should tone it down. Will it be toned down? I don't have a crystal ball. My opinion, hell no, it's not going to be toned down.
Exactly.
It's not going to be toned down.
It's just gonna get worse. And I mean, even when you think about the games that these kids play, 90% of the kids that are playing video games are playing GTA, Grand Theft Auto. And the more they develop this, these games, the more they try to make it look lifelike. Back in the day when we had Atari and there was a boxing game, it didn't look like two adults, boxing each other. It was a round head and two arms that stick out like this and they just punch. That's all it was. Nowadays they make these games so realistic. The girls have booties and boobs and little waist, and the men have all these muscles and strong, but they look like people, they sound like people. It looks like real life. So these kids are playing these games from sun up to sundown like a recluse locked up in their room or somewhere in the house in their basement, playing all these killing games. And sometimes they cannot differentiate, fake versus reality. So when they go out and think about committing these crimes, it's like, oh shoot, this is a game, not really realizing the consequences that come from that. But it definitely distorts their perception and their view of reality. And a lot of time these kids want to act it out just to see what will happen. They want to race around 100 miles per hour thinking that they're actually in a game. And this is real, and when these people in Silicon Valley develop these games, they develop them in such a way that it lights up the addiction centers in your brain. So once they formulate the game and they have test people come in to play the game, they have the electrodes hooked up to your brain and to your body. So if the addiction center does not light up, they're like, oh no, maybe the color is wrong, the speed is wrong, the changing of scenes is too slow. And then they go back to the lab and reformulate it until all those addiction centers in your brain light up. And once it lights up for addiction, then it says, gotcha. Now that's going to be the game that actually ends up going to market. And that game that goes to market, now you have kids who are playing it, not even realizing how the addiction sensors are lighting up in their brain. So the propensity for addiction, not just, gaming addiction, but all types of addiction, drug addiction, sex addiction, killing, addiction. This type of stuff brings spirits on you and different addictions that is hard to come back from. and hard to shake once you become addicted to that. We all know somebody that was on drugs in some way, shape, or form. And 9 times out of 10, if somebody's on drugs and has an addiction problem, they're going to relapse at some point in their recovery. That's just how it goes. It's unfortunate, but those spirits get on you and it's strong. So we have to be careful what games we're letting our children play. Because 20 years old, I bet you that young man was playing Grand Theft Auto as well.
And
I guarantee.
and Joe does, Joe's part of a gaming thing, and I've seen Joe play the combat games. I see the combat games, not only Grand Theft. There's a lot of other combat games out there. But let me just say this here, because Joe was passionate about how he felt, and I don't take away. I saw what Eddie Bonnet put it out there in comments just now, and one of the things that my radio station for BLS did not send out a memo, but my other Urban One sent out a memo. Because remember, we on the FCC license, and that they said to take this serious because there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of emotion out here. And who am I to say I'm not going to do this? And I know I can get passionate. But I think that it comes a time for us to try to be somewhat responsible with certain things that are said. You can't, I heard what Joe said, and we had talk offline on some of this. But Eddie, you have to understand, and I respect you as a person, but you adding gasoline to a fire, when you do certain things. Now, when you don't check, when you don't check these things, and then you come out here and then you spew other things, then it gets very, very, very bad. We've had to all go back and apologize and correct ourselves. You've done it to yourself, Eddie, Guidry, or whatever. Now, I do agree that there's no FCC rules here. This is Joe's podcast. He can do what he wants. However, the bottom line is that this is a type of podcast that we do share and disagree on ideas, and it does get passionate, and we understand that. But it comes down to now when someone's life or lives are being put on is out there now. Now that's where it gets, where it shows where we have to be more responsible. And if we can't be responsible leading up to these type of conversations, it's just going to get worse, y'all. And we have to look ourselves in the mirror and say, you know what? I have an opinion. I back this person, but I can call him or her out when they're wrong. And if you don't do that, and then we get this, and then you add more on top of that, how do you think we're going to respond? We're human. And this is where we're at. We called this. We're here. A lot of us three here are not surprised by this. We're not surprised by this. So for us to make disclaimers, I don't have to do it because we told y'all this should not happen, and it was leading to this. So now, all of a sudden, now we get here, and then you want to add more crap on top of it. We have a breaking point as well. So I think we all need to take a step back, but we also need to be responsible and look at what some of the stuff that we say and understand what are facts and what is BS.
Hold it. And that's why I got off the live for a minute, because I sent Brother Eddie a message and told him to call me, and was giving him ample time to give me a call, because I wanted to tell him, brother, listen, what I'm saying is I don't mind. You should be exact. This might be him. So I'm going to step off and have a private conversation. I'll be right back.
And you know what? Breaking news right now. It says judge dismisses Trump classified documents indictment. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
That's the one in which one, in DC or Florida? You don't know?
I'm not sure because I don't have the volume all the way up. It just flashed on CNN breaking news.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that this is going to get worse, because now a lot of people feel that, on one side, folks that felt that Donald Trump was a target of the government and all the rhetoric. You go back to the, dealing with the swamp when he was first running and all this. Now that it's tilting now. It's tilting back to their side. It is tilting back to their side. So again, it looks like this is a runoff for the White House.
Yeah.
You understand?
And you know what? Go ahead.
I was going to say, all Donald Trump has to do right now, and if he's sincere about this, I don't see a tiger changing his stripes, but he can,
Mhm.
because you can
Mhm.
have something happen to you that changes your life forever.
That's right.
If Donald Trump is sincere about this and really want to bring this country together, then you can bring this country together by pulling away from some of that rhetoric and also embracing some of the other sides that you have not embraced.
Yeah.
You understand? And when you start to do that and you talk about really doing this and saying you're wrong, which he's had a hard time saying he's wrong, you understand? Then that's how you can pull together a country, and you can walk in a different light to make this country better.
Yeah.
Will he do it? I doubt it. But right now he's on the main stage. He has this in his hands. What he does with it,
Mhm.
I don't know. But Sister Jax, just to bring the scriptures in here, scriptures in here. Not calling Donald Trump the Antichrist, but we talk about when you talk from the scripture, the Antichrist will have a lot of influence and a lot of power.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And you know what's so fascinating? I was at an event yesterday, right? Outside all day, probably about 12 hours. And I talked to a lot of young people that were floating around. And they all said, they were, talking about, the assassination attempt and stuff like that. But they all said, when I'm going to be voting, and I'm voting for Trump, and these were all black and brown, young people, educated young people, you know. So it's very, very interesting. But one thing we do have to understand is that his base, we can't worry about trying to be accepted, number one. You know what I'm saying? Especially accepted by, by them. But you can vote for them all you want. But when they're trying to put policies and put certain stuff in place, trust and believe we're not part of that good old boys network or that grand old party. Like even the name grand old party has such a racist connotation, to me. And so we're not a part of it. We could, skin and grin and smile and want to be a part of it, but that we'll never be a part of it. Because you're still going to be,
Okay,
according to them, a ninja.
hold on. Hold
Mhm.
on, family. And I hope I got the brother on. Brother Eddie, are you there?
Yeah, yes, sir. How you
Okay.
doing, Brother Joe?
So
Brother
look,
Fatine, Sister Jax?
before I bring Brother Eddie on, I'm not going to tell y'all what conversation we had in the back, but more black folk, this is what we need to do. Me and Brother Eddie, we all right with each other.
Mhm.
We said what we
Yeah,
had to
yes,
see.
yes, sir.
See, that's what we got to start doing. We got to agree to disagree, and when we really disagree, we got to have a conversation and come back and understand this. Eddie, a black man, I'm a black man. Times like this, black men don't need to be beefing
Black
with each
families.
other. We don't
Yeah,
need to
black
be
family.
we don't need
Yep.
we don't need to be beefing with one another. Period.
Mhm.
So, Brother Eddie,
But
now,
want to share.
yeah,
Just want
go
to share
ahead.
with
Go
y'all.
ahead.
You know, I really enjoy the show. The show has I get a chance to dialogue with Brother Fatine a little bit. He don't really get connected much with me, but we did get a chance to talk. And Sister Jax, I kind of share information on some thoughts that I be having. So I really appreciate Truth Be Told podcast, and I look forward. My wife kind of be upset with me because I'm always 8 o'clock. She call out. She know what's up.
Oh,
I'm on the podcast, but I just want to say that I think the most important thing right now is really trying to find a way that humanity can thrive, where we can come together as humans, because ultimately that's what I believe. I believe in the rights of people, and I just don't believe that no matter what, people are evil. We all have the tendency to do evil. We all have the tendency to say the wrong things. I have not really sat with any person that has gotten it all together. Even the greats that we know about, that we idolize, they still had to commit themselves to discipline, to keep themselves from being spotted by the pollution of the world. So, I like I say, man, it's really the time that we really got to be in a position to learn how to really coexist. Brother Joe said something that's very important. If America goes down, everybody that we love is going down with it. I really don't understand. My desire is to see Joe Biden be a successful president. One of the things that Donald Trump did say inside of the debate, he said, "I really wish I didn't have to come back and run. I really wish he was doing a great job for this country, and I wouldn't even get back up." And I mean, I can respect a man like that, because at the end of the day, he really don't have to come back and become president. He really don't. He can sit back on his island. He can sit back with all his rich bougie folks and just float it out. But the fact that he put himself in a position, he said, "Hey, I just hate it. I hate the fact that I have to come back because of the job that he felt." Like I said, everybody's gonna feel their extremes on whatnot. I have my beliefs on where I stand, and I have a reasoning for the beliefs I stand with. Like I said, I put my time in the military. I sat down with blacks, whites, Asians, many different nationalities in the military that was ready to die for me, and I was ready to die for them if need be. So that's where I'm at in that. I care about America. We got other countries in this world, but my home is America. I was born in America, and my desire is for America to thrive, and that's all I gotta say.
Thank you, brother
Amen.
Eddie.
And
Thank you
wait,
for
wait, Joe,
calling in.
before you let him go, brother Eddie, I want to thank you so much. I was with as we call A plus, Antoine, one of my art therapy students,
Come on.
all day
Uh huh.
yesterday. He came to my event yesterday, bright and early, 8 a.m., and was helping out. He got a furlough to come and spend the day. So during the time when we were selling jewelry and I was doing autograph signings and stuff, we had I had a therapy session with him. And during that therapy session, we're going over his goals and his plans in life. And he was like, "Yeah, like Mr. Bonnet said, And then he started talking about trucking, and I just love you and appreciate that you're still in contact with him, because he was sharing some of the
Oh yeah.
conversation you guys have had and how you're helping him to even set the goal in terms of trucking and giving your experience. So he was
Yes.
so honored that you have stayed in touch. He's like, "Yeah, that guy from the podcast," and so I was just so overjoyed. So thank you
Great
for
brother. Great brother, and I'm glad to be
yes.
connected.
Yeah,
Yes. So,
Eddie, that's good. That's great. That's the great, and those are the stories, and those are the things that we talk
Thank you,
about,
brother Eddie, for
and those are the
calling
things
in. Don't work too hard.
and promoting that. And I know Joe wanted to say this, just to say this real quick, and y'all can go back to this because Jack's brought in the breaking news story. So here's the breaking news story with a little bit more detail. So the classified documents case against former President Donald Trump has been dismissed by Judge Eileen Cannon, according to court records. This is the case in Florida. The judge ruled that special counsel Jack Smith appointment was unconstitutional, and it stated the superseding indictment is dismissed because special counsel Smith appointment violates the appointments clause of the United States Constitution that Judge Eileen Cannon wrote. So there's going to be fallout on this because she's appointed Donald Trump, a Trump appointed judge. A lot of people said that she was going to be hard moving forward. So there's just a lot happening. The Republican convention is kicked off today. I spoke with Roland Martin early this morning. Morning Joe on MSNBC was preempted. This morning, and me and Roland was talking a little bit about that. This is your flagship show, and to preempt it, how much more can you talk about Trump that you didn't talk about last night and all day Sunday? You understand that they could have incorporated it into Morning Joe. They said that it would return tomorrow. That's their things. That's their toy, and they do what they want to do. But there's going to be a lot of conversation moving forward. But right now, the Republicans are going to get a bump. Donald Trump will definitely get a bump because of this assassination attempt, this case being dismissed, and he's going to speak at the Republican convention. So after this week, he will get probably a huge bump in the polls.
That's right.
So
And the convention starts in about less than 4.5 hours now. Countdown to the beginning of the convention.
Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, you are welcome to hashtag Truth Be Told. Do you have a question or comment? Tell us who you are and where you calling from. Let's go.
What's up, fam? This is Miss Shawn from New York. I'm in New York City now. I got a comment. I just wanted to touch in about the generation that's overlooked. Now, I'm not making an excuse. Yes, the roof is, like Brother Malcolm says, the roofs have come home to roost.
Chickens have come home to roost. The chickens have come home to roost.
So the guy, they said he was bullied in school, and he was kind of black, white ball, the reject. And so how he was able to be used that way. We're the generation now, we're in the generation who actually feel that way by the masses, especially the natives of this land. And so now also they said, well, at least Brother Joe gave the white folks their nigger card. So now the outcome is chaos and mayhem. And so speaking on when Sister Jack said, well, 4th of July is one of the bloodiest wars in history. And we celebrate it. So when he says, someone in the comments says, well, now I'm talking about Donald. Well, when the threats go out talking about the blood of what one of them said, they mention a Bible verse, blood to the horse's brow. All right. So now somebody already popped off. Like they said, somebody popped off, somebody else is going to pop off back. That's this generation. So what you plan to see, it's going to get scary, Brother Joe. That's the reality of it. They're tired. On both sides of the fence, they're tired. Our generation and the generations after us. And they're not going to sit back and hold hands and say gospel songs. They're not going to do it. And that so seems like now it's about that time and it's brewing up to that. But something has to be done. We got to stop being overlooked. And it's going down to what the fight really is about. And they say, oh, it's above you. It's the man behind the scenes. No, we need to know who's doing what. They have people, they have face, they ain't a ghost, and they ain't a they have names. And so that's what it's boiling down to. Enough is enough. And God is tired too. We all are tired. We all are tired to being looked down on. That's the bottom line. And that's where the anger is coming in. So it's a multiplicity and it's a complicated story, but it's a real true story of what's going on out in the streets and how what happened to that damn Donald is affecting all of us today where we're still conversating about it. And that's all I want to say.
Thank you for calling in. Thank you, caller. Whoever.
I had a comment on it, but I just let it,
Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to ask when she talked about the generation that is overlooked. I wanted to ask the question, and this is good conversation because the generation, and I guess that's assuming the younger generation. The question is, where are they active? And they are younger folks that are active, that are looking at things, and that's why I said this is honestly one of the perfect times to do this, to bring on some young people. I mean, I can reach out to the National Action Network, I can reach out to the National Urban League, I can reach out to the NAACP, and I can reach out to youth organizations across this country to get young folks on. And maybe that's one of my goals this week, is to bring young folks on to talk about the climate of the country and what they're looking forward. But I'm talking about those that are active, because there are active members out there that do work with some of the elders. Because I remember one time before, when you got to realize, when the Black Lives Matters came out, they were critical of Reverend Sharpton, NAACP, this, that, and other. And Reverend Sharpton took them head on. He was like, fine, you're more than welcome to come here. But what you're not going to do is, you're not going to disrespect us and then tell us that we need to step off, and you don't have a mechanism to move forward with the people. That's the key. Do you have a mechanism? Do you have a thing in place that once the cameras go home, that you still can give and help these families? Can you still stand up have them stand up on their feet? You heard the gentleman that lost his mother in the Tops grocery store said that one thing about Attorney Ben Crump and Reverend Sharpton is they never left him. The cameras left him. The news media's left him. But he said Reverend Sharpton and they haven't left him. So we welcome Black Lives Matter. We welcome these other youth organizations. But one thing you're not going to do is not come in here without a plan and a mechanism and some type of experience on dealing with this, because this is a very devious plot that we're going against. Project 2025 is not something that just was thought of yesterday and put out today. This was thought. And if you can't counter this and understand what has happened before, then you're not ready for the game, y'all. It ain't about yelling who yells the loudest, who's passionate the most. It's understanding and not falling for some of the trickery out there at the end of the day.
You know, right. We've got to understand this. And I just read this, and this is prevalent to this moment. This is prevalent to what's going on. Just remember, nobody needs to have to go down for you to rise up.
Mhm.
We got to start really feeling that way. Ain't nobody got to go down for me to rise up. You know, at the end of the day, the judge dismissed the classified document indictment. This justice system is going to do what this justice system does. Justice, there is no justice for just us most of the time. So understand, we can't do what they do. They not like us. Kendrick
Mhm.
Lamar said it best. They not like us. We can't do what they do. I say it constantly. Let a melanated person do the same thing they do. Watch what the penalty and the punishment be. It's
Mhm.
different.
Exactly.
You know, you say it best, brother Fatim, and I credit you for this. I need to put it on a t-shirt. It's the same inch, but it's being measured.
By two different rulers. And Douglas Guidry says, Brother Fatim, you owe America an apology. So Douglas,
What?
he
For
said, I
what?
owe America an apology.
Doug
So
he like get you
Douglas,
started.
no, he ain't getting me started. It's very simple. I'll think about it once America apologized to us for slavery. Once America not only apologized for slavery, but issue not only that, but issue us reparations for slavery. Then I'll think about giving America an apology. So I'll get in line. I'll get in line. You say I owe America an apology? I'll get in line. I'm behind America. I'm waiting for America to state their apology for slavery. You understand? And after their apology for slavery, deal with reparations, restitution with what they did to our ancestors. And then I'll think about it, Douglas Guidry. So call me back when America gives that apology and push the legislation forward for us to get the restitution for what they've done to our ancestors and continue to do today. And then I'll get in line and think about giving America an apology. So let's see if that day will come or that's the day that hell freezes over.
Hold it, and let's make something else clear that and this I'm taking this comment from a good friend of mine, one of my young friends that I have a lot of respect for. Understand, I don't fear losing Facebook, social media, friends, and followers because I was successful and a man long before Facebook was even in existence. So understand that when you come on here, understand we created this platform as a place that you could have your voice spoken, but we still moderate this thing. In a day like today, I wasn't about no bull. That's for anybody. I even would say to Brother Fatim, hold on, Brother Fatim, and he and I get passionate about some things. At the end of the day, you can't go on right wing talk podcast and start talking about the Democrats. That they'll block you and make it that you never come back because the only rhetoric they want in their podcast is rhetoric that uphold their narrative, that they're right and nobody else and everybody else is wrong. I'm not in that space. I'm in the space that I can be wrong. But let's have a conversation and try to work this thing out where we can both have a better understanding of why we got to where we got to. At the end of the day, it is what it is, Brother Fatim. You got to spark on your face.
I'm gonna say something just to lighten the moment a minute. So I saw Sister Jack's screen go black. I said, "Oh God!" Last week, her screen went back blank, and Gable joined the room and blew his trumpet. And she went. The screen went blank. I said, "Oh God, what's gonna happen now? What the hell? Media gonna hit the earth or something?"
Oh Lord.
Oh, we done had earthquakes. Right. That's where we need to be worried about.
Jax, you bring a lot of things over here. You brought Gabriel. You blew your trumpet last week. I'm glad it was your trumpet instead of Gabriel's trumpet.
Look.
I said, girl, she didn't mute her mic. She better not blow that trumpet no more.
Yeah. No, I made sure. Look, just now when Joe had me off the screen, I made sure I hit mute and then I blew the hell out the trumpet. I said, y'all ain't get me next time.
So watch this. And let us not be distracted. Even though there was an assassination attempt on a former president, let's not be distracted that there's still millions of people in Houston, Texas, being held hostage by the energy company because they're taking their slow, sweet time restoring power in Houston. Why? Because I come to find out that politically, a few weeks ago, they had requested for a rate hike through the council and got denied. So isn't that crazy that all of a sudden you request a rate hike for all the customers, you get denied, the storm hits, and all of a sudden now you're taking your sweet time restoring
Oh,
power.
that's terrible.
Come on, family.
That's
This is
terrible.
why you got to pay attention to what's really going on. At the same time, there are people who are suffering from sweltering heat all
Mhm.
across this nation. There are forest fires that are burning like crazy in California around the Los Angeles area. Let us not be distracted on other things. And Project 2025 is still in full effect. Project
that's right.
2025 is still in full effect. So while we're all here going, oh no, pay attention.
That's
Pay
right.
attention.
That's
Please
right.
pay attention.
And you know what, Joe? And you're so right, because when we talk about preparedness, right? Even in the situation with Texas, we need to still make sure that even if you go on Amazon or some other website today and order solar powered lights, order solar powered batteries, order solar power, whatever it is you need to order your life straws. And life straws are those straws with the filter that we spoke about that I showed when Brother Aton was on the show, that you can literally drink out of a contaminated, a water source, stream, river, whatever. And the water gets filtered, through that straw, so that you can have water to drink. So we can't keep talking about it and saying it and not doing anything about it. It can't just be, oh, I watched Truth Be Told, I heard them say blah 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 blah. But now in the moment of disaster, because it can happen like that, the blink of an eye. It's no time to then get prepared. It's no time. Highway is going to be gridlocked. You might not be able to get gas. You might not be able to get food. So start building your little bit of pantry up. Whatever you have to do with non-perishable items. Get some bay leaves to keep your rice, bug free and stuff like that, and pop it in there. Order your solar powered stuff. If you have to today, literally when we get off the show, if you have to go online to your municipality's office and find out where is the gun permit documentation, where you can download it, fill it out, and start that process to get your gun permit. But just get prepared, guys. Like, we're not saying it just to say it week after week after week. We're saying it for a reason. We are saying it for a reason. So please get your solar power, whatever you have to get your batteries stacked up, like all that type of. Make sure you have some extra water in your house, because it's about to get bad. It's about to get bad, and that's the
And,
worst thing, to not be prepared when it does get bad.
and in other black news, everybody in black news is talking about Tyler Perry's Divorce in Black.
Oh, I
If
didn't. That's a movie or a
yeah,
sitcom?
it's a
No,
movie.
TV.
It's a movie. It's a movie.
Okay.
It's a movie. Is it?
No,
It's
it's a TV show.
Oh, TV
it
show.
is Divorce in Black.
I thought it
Oh,
was because everybody was talking about it yesterday. Maybe
Well, I
it's a
thought
movie. I don't know.
okay.
okay, but it
But
was good.
But
everybody. I haven't watched it, but
Okay.
here's what's funny. Most men who watch it, they say, are very appalled. But we got to get down to some facts about something. This is where I'm going to 22 minutes after the hour take a little quick turn. Understand something. A powerful, loving, good father, great provider, community leader who happens to be a black man just doesn't sell in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
It don't sell in Hollywood or the mainstream media, even though that individual may exist. Understand, two of the most powerful black men who are probably the pinnacle of this is a good black man would be, by most people, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. But even when you bring their names up and put Barack Obama in the equation too, I'm going to bring three of them: Malcolm, Martin, Barack Obama. If I brought them three names up, first thing they're going to say about Martin is, didn't he cheat on Coretta?
Mm-hmm.
First thing they're going to say about Malcolm is, wasn't he Detroit Red? Didn't he used to run with white women and steal a lot of stuff? And what they're going to say about Obama is, look at all the heinous stuff that Obama did, and he's really not even American. No matter what a black man does, somebody always has something to say that is negative toward the black man, because a positive father figure who is loving, who is strong, who is a community leader, who is doing the right thing, the propaganda machine says that animal does not exist.
And shoot, Joe, in the
And we
hood,
bought
they don't
into
even
it.
want it in the hood half the time. These sisters, it could be a good
Right.
man that comes along, and some of these sisters, they don't even want it.
Mm.
Or they don't even recognize it. They rather take Tyrone or Raheem to be jacking them up, lying to them, cheating on them. But the man that puts some pressure on them to help them to become a better woman, to help them, encourage them to go back to school, or increase their job opportunity or their perspective, or start that business, or a man that wants to be a good father, they're not interested. They want the little cutie with the six-pack down the block that got 5 other baby mamas and 25 other kids. Many times they don't even want the good man. And it's so unfortunate. We are so destroyed as a people that our sisters don't even know a great man when he comes their way. Because maybe he's not packaged how you would want him to be packaged. Maybe his complexion is a little darker or a little lighter than you prefer. Maybe his tooth is a little crooked. Maybe you don't like the little car he drives, but yet might have some extra money stashed away in the bank, because his priorities are more in order. You rather take the guy with that drives a nice car, if he has one, drives a nice car, but ain't worth a damn. So we really have to even raise up our little girls to look at the bigger picture, and raise up our young men to look at the bigger picture and be somebody great. Find somebody that matches your greatness. Find somebody that believes in you, that can love on you, and be a good man and be a good woman. But too often they're just so caught up in the stupid stuff that doesn't even matter.
And that's why I took the time that I was not born Fatim and Hanifa was not born Hanifa, but we picked names that we strive to, the meaning of our names, we strive to be.
Yeah.
And then when we named our children, just like in the movie and the book Roots, you give children a name that that gives them reckoning, for them to understand and to work towards. That's why my daughters have names that have meanings and that they work towards. And I appreciate the comments that I receive on my daughters, but that's the work that me and my late wife put in with them, but they still have to live up to that name. You understand? Because they have to do the work to live up to that name. So people will say, you fit your name. And that's what I have taught them, continue to teach them. And that's how it's the responsibility of us to do that. Will some make a different turn? Yes, that happens. But when you tend to pour in, you tend to get more out. With Joe making that turn, I wanted to bring up something, because I saw this in the New York Daily News today. And it says history, because a lot of our folks that are in the chat are from the region where Joe is from, Louisiana. And there's a story in the New York Daily News today. It says history versus growth. Black Louisianans struggle to reconcile economic needs with preservation. And the story, real quick, it's a long story, so I'm not going to read them. I'll break it down. Sister Joe, this is how it starts. Joe, J-O, Sisters Joe and Dr. Joy Banner founded the Descendants Project to preserve Black Louisiana's culture and are fighting against the construction of a 222-acre grain export facility near their historic property in Wallace, Louisiana. Their Creole Cottage Cafe sits on land brought by their great-grandparents, surrounded by sugarcane fields, historic plantation, and across from heavy industry on the Mississippi River. The proposed facility by the Greenfield Louisiana LLC threatens to industrialize the West Bank area, potentially eradicating historic landmarks and worsening population concerns shared by many Wallace residents. While some residents support the project for economic development, the Banners and others worry about the environmental and cultural impacts, emphasizing the needs to protect their heritage and community. So I wanted to just share that story, because even though Sister Jax is up north in Newark, and I'm between New York and Florence, South Carolina, we are concerned, and I want to let Joe know I'm watching what's going on in your area too, my brother.
Hey,
got eyes everywhere, my brother.
Hey, there is things going on throughout this country, throughout this land, throughout this world that is affecting melanated people. And we're over here really many a times missing the whole big picture. I mean, we haven't talked about things that are going on in the diaspora of Africa right now. There are many things going on, the influx of the Chinese taking over African land and taking over their minerals and what's going on there. Right now, Africa is literally being ran by China and Russia.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
And they're marrying the African women to then get birthright and access to the land.
So I mean, you got to understand what's going on. I saw that yesterday. Jax had a great event that I would be remiss not to mention, with Dr. Umar Johnson, where they were out in Newark doing their thing. And I mean, it's just always great to see that in the midst of all this chaos and confusion, there's still folks out there trying to give you good, wholesome information to make you better today than you were yesterday. We got to applaud folks like that. I applaud Sister Jax. I applaud Brother Fatim. I applaud the people in the chat. I applaud everybody who comes in and makes this a part of their everyday, if it's just for a few minutes, because at the end of the day, what we're doing with our click, like, and share, because we're on Facebook and we're on YouTube and we're on Instagram, what we are doing is trying to give you something outside mainstream media, because I'm watching CNN right now, and the mainstream media, of course, is talking the propaganda machine's main thing right now. Look at Trump. Look at how, and we should have known this was coming the moment that the Supreme Court said that they found a way to say, hey, he is immune to some things. It is all just a plot and a plan. And it's really not about Trump. Believe it or not, it's about the position of the presidency, because they will place in that position who they feel needs to be there to serve their purpose. The system will always do what the system was designed to do. We have to understand that. And the system was not designed for us melanated folk. When the system was created, we weren't even considered to be human beings. Just know that. Just know those are facts. You can get as mad as you want.
That wasn't even that long ago, Joe. That wasn't even that long ago. That's the crazy part.
Hold it. What was a little bit over 200 years, right? It's not even what, 200, 300 years, a little bit over 200 years ago. Come on. And that's no time. How many generations is that? Just count it. And look, understand.
My great aunt is 101. You know what I'm saying? So that was during her mother's time.
Right.
You know? So that's crazy.
So what we have to understand, and we have to listen. I had the awesome opportunity to hold my darling grandson, Jordan Quest Anderson, in my arms, and I realized something. All the greatness that I don't even know about, from eons ago, from the beginning of time, is all in that baby through his DNA.
That's right.
That he carries my DNA, my daddy's DNA, my mama's DNA. He carries generations of DNA with him now to grow and to be more than we could ever be. Family, this is bigger than us, and we've got to, family, we've got to start loving on one another. We've got to understand that we can agree to disagree without going to war with one another. There's enough war about to break out, trust me, to fill your cup up for the rest of your life. We've got to love, respect, undergird, build, and promote one another. We got to do it. We don't do that enough in Black and brown communities. We just don't.
I'm telling you, Joe, the other day, my husband and I were talking about, I've always had this desire to just move to another country, just to like literally pack up and leave and go live life in another country. Nowadays, it's a little different, you know, where you can, you know, work online, you can work from wherever, you can create and do whatever you want from wherever you are. But I mean, I'm definitely not opposed to it. So we're even, you know, in talks of like, where would we go? You know, when would we go? You know, talking about like selling the home we're in now, you know, buying something else, you know, where we have land and, you know, more land and, you know, could have farm and animals and chickens so that we can always have eggs. We can have our herbs, our garden, our fruits and vegetables. But I still wouldn't mind doing that in another country, and he's down with it. So it's a matter of doing our research and trying to find out where could we go, because America is not the end all be all. You know, there's other countries where you could live, worship the Most High, you know, have good health, have good, you know, a good life, and, you know, good nutritious food, not the BS that America just packages up for us, because we're so quick to just eat anything that already comes in a box. And that's the worst stuff that we should eat. If it's in a box or a package, we shouldn't be eating it, you know? And that's mainly the type of stuff that we eat, and we wonder why we're always so sick and we have all these health issues and concerns or whatever. Like, the food is poisoning us to the point that people don't even realize that even with Philip Morris and some of the major tobacco companies, right, that they are also tied in with the food industry, that the same companies that are making, you know, tobacco to addict us are some of the same companies that are making food and putting some of those same ingredients in it to addict us as well, you know, through food. So we definitely have to do better and really just wake up and not keep taking things for what it appears to be, because it's really not. It's really not. So I don't know. Y'all coming? When we move,
No.
You ain't going nowhere, Fatim?
No, because the craziest thing, the interesting thing is back in 2007, this was so interesting. We're sitting outside. We was at a function, and we were sitting in front of a library,
Mhm.
and on that it had two statues, one a king and one a queen.
Mhm.
And the conversation was, what would we do? Would we want to come back to Africa or not? The mind-blowing thing is we were having this conversation in Africa, in Khartoum, Sudan.
Mhm.
And we were in front of a library. We had toured the library, and now we're having this conversation. So some people was like, hell no, I wish I would come back over here. Hell no, this thing ain't right over here. They don't like
Yeah.
us over here. They don't look at us, our lost brothers and
Yeah.
sisters. Some people say, oh, I would come back and I would leave America, but this, that, and the other. Then some people say that they would like to see us having more control in America, not leave America, but have more control of our own areas and culture and this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
So I'm saying it now. I'm not saying that I wouldn't leave. I mean, that was part of our preparedness, Sister Jax. That was part of our preparedness. Where will we go? That part of the preparedness was to make sure that we had everybody had their passport, because you never know when you have to get out and go. The late great Isaac Hayes, he was a king. He was appointed a king, and I think it was not Grenada. Some part of Africa.
Mhm.
And is it Grenada? Ghana. Thank you. It was Ghana, Africa. And he had land there. So as I was listening to you, Sister Jax, it's a way to get land where you may be looking, because it may be where it's conducive that you can still live here, but go over there and travel, set up certain things, and then you could have a person or persons that housekeep that place for you. You don't really have to have them come in and do too much cleaning because there's no one there, but keep up the grounds or whatever. You can start to do that and start to, if you are really serious about that, then look into that to see what you would do, because you never know what will happen if you did have to get up and get out of this country. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not a bad idea. But for me, right now, at this stage, I mean, unless I have to leave America, I'm not looking.
I mean,
not this stage of my life, no. I'm not looking to leave. It don't mean I will not. I got a passport ready to go anytime because I'm prepared.
That's right.
I have friends that have property. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, my neighbors, the wife is an attorney, but she, she's from DC, but they have like 5 or 6 kids now, so she's at home raising the children. Her husband is an executive chef in New York, and doing a phenomenal job, but he's African, but she's African American, but they have property in Africa. So he was showing me recently, like on his cell phone, he was like, I have properties all over, and he said, I have cameras all in my houses. So he showed me his phone. He was like, I could see what's going on in every room in the house. He said, I have people that do like Airbnb. Then I have other family members that live there. He showed me his kitchen, his living room, the backyard where the animals are, and the everything. He said I could log in at any point to see what the hell's going on in my property. But something jumps off, he can go right back there because they have property and they have the animals to be, to sustain, and live and still make money from their cattle and wild stock. There's, all of that stuff, chickens and whatever. But
I ain't ringing no chicken head. I'm not gonna watch no chicken run. I'm not doing that. I'm not milking a cow. I'm not milking a cow.
Now, strangely enough, all the things that you say you won't do, Brother Fatim, I have done, being raised on the farm with Mr. and Mrs. Anderson.
Wow.
And it's not as bad as you think it is.
I ain't say it's bad. I'm not at this stage at 42. I ain't doing that.
Right. At the
tender age.
I'm not doing that. I'm at the peak of my life. I'm not doing that right now.
But you know what, Fatim, and if you don't have any food, you know what I'm saying? If you're like, oh shoot, like nothing is in the stores, I can't eat. And that chicken standing there looking at you, you looking at that chicken looking at you, you might be like, or that cow looking at you, you looking at that cow.
They gonna listen, just like in The Walking Dead. If you don't start dealing with what is out here that has been provided for you to eat,
that's right.
Guess who you gonna start eating? That one week that they had nothing but the cannibals on there that were eating whoever they could eat. You
That's
know,
why
Yo,
you build you some berry trees and pear trees and all that kind of stuff. You better build a cabbage patch. You
uh,
understand? Now,
you
I'm
gonna
not talking
you
about the
gonna
damn doll neither. I'm talking about the
you gonna look at
simplification.
that cow and be like, bring them perky nipples up over here, Mr. Mrs.
Freaking
Cow.
nipple.
hey, hey,
You could be
hey.
milking.
So the craziness
Talking
is,
about nipples.
you know,
That's a different story.
hey,
Oh
I
Lord.
want
yeah.
some nipples now.
Speak,
I don't know if they would be cow nipples.
speaking of which,
Oh, did you hear that story?
yeah, we gonna get into that conversation later on in the week with a special guest that we're gonna have come in. But listen,
Lord
you
Jesus.
know, I have friends, especially a lot of my evangelical friends who do pilgrimage. They do pilgrimage to
The
different
situation.
places. And they have like land in South Africa, land that when they were over there preaching and teaching, that they bought in South Africa. You know, so hey, it's possible. It's very much possible to
Yeah.
to get land overseas. Yeah,
And
that
your
is.
money goes so much further. You know,
Yeah.
the American dollar goes so much further over there, but we're just so afraid. Americans are especially Black Americans, are some of the most fearful people on the face of the earth, and we're so afraid to step out of our box and out of our comfort zone, and we just remain hostage to whatever our former beliefs are. Like, cognitive dissonance. Like we cannot take in any other information to try to do something different. It's like we'd rather just do it our same old jacked up ways, still get the same old jacked up results, and pass that same jacked up mentality from generation to generation to generation. Instead of saying, you know what, my mother, she was wrong. You know, my father was trying to tell me XYZ, but that wasn't it. You know, there's another way to do some things, but we get so stuck in just wanting to believe what we believe and not, taking any new information. And that shows another sign of poor emotional intelligence as well.
Let me
You
come
know,
on the
when
back of that. Let me come on the back of this, Sister Jax. I was talking with your cousin yesterday a little bit about this, not as in depth. So I was just talking about some of the parallels between, your studies and my studies. And I think I shared a picture where Hanifa was on Geraldo Rivera back in it was around 1990. But I was talking about it over the weekend. And you could see her with, same way Sister Jax wraps her head, Hanifa was wrapped on Geraldo Rivera show. There are people that do this now. Some do it out of religious, some do it out of survival. And I know, and there's a lot of controversy, I don't need to name it, but there was a group, Islamic group, Muslim group, Black Muslims, it wasn't a Nation of Islam, that had a section of Brooklyn. And I remember they did a write-up in the Daily News. It was by the late Jimmy Breslin, a white reporter. And he talked about that in the middle of Bushwick, Brooklyn, which Bushwick block over was Broadway. And people that know that area know that that's not the greatest area. But that section that the Muslims lived there, their children, they went, they in school, or I don't homeschool, but in school, their children as children. But then when they went to junior high and high school, they went outside of the school. Jimmy Breslin wrote in that article, it was one, if not the safest neighborhoods in New York City. They did their own patrol. They did their own patrol 24/7, blizzard or whatever. They patrol their community. They had their own pizza shop. They had land upstate. So you can do this. You have to have not only the mindset, but you have to have the knowledge to do it, and you have to have the people to do it. It can be done where you can control this. We were talking about this now, that I'm not saying it's too late for my family, but we could honestly invest into a big, big, big house with acres of land where there could be satellite homes on that land.
Yes.
And that we pool our resources there as a family. So it's not under a religious perspective. It's more under a survival perspective, but of just living a certain way of life because the family is moving in a certain direction. There's certain bylaws. We ain't gonna have no drug use here. We're not
That's
gonna have
right.
this, that, and other. And if you want to come here, this is what what's gonna happen. So it can be done. And we talk about it, but again, we need to talk to people who have done it or who are doing it today. That's why I said, as we grow bigger and we get a producer, we'll get that research and bring the people on and let them tell you how they thought it was a thought and
Yeah.
how they made it manifest into a reality for them and theirs.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that sounds so good. Like I would love something like that, especially when you're doing it with people that are like-minded. And for our household, it's a spiritual thing, right? So I'm not all, we're not all into religion. We're just into following the Bible, right? Not, a religion per se, right? So for us, if we were to do something like that, we already know we have to be with people that are like-minded, because we're not gonna, have our little compound and my mom or whoever is over there, playing Christmas music and decorating the front of the house with Christmas stuff, and if you don't like that, just don't come. Find your own place, to live. But for us, we know that we're guided by the Most High. So for us, we're gonna go according to scripture, and it's not for everybody. So we'll have our own little village, but our own little village with other like-minded friends and or family, that have, similar, beliefs. So, I mean, I would love something like that. I mean, I know even, we celebrate tabernacles, right? So tabernacles it's in the Bible, and it's a
Right.
major high holy day in scripture. So we actually even go out camping for 8 days in the wilderness, performing the righteous acts. So there are thousands and thousands of us with like minds that go out there camping for a week. And it's so beautiful. Like once you leave there, you hate to come back basically to reality amongst, everybody else, because you have like all the women have on their beautiful dresses and skirts, and the little girls have on their dresses and skirts. You see the dads leading their families, and the moms are there, cooking, and dads are even there cooking and preparing, and we're just out in the wilderness, whatever state we travel to, for 8 days, and literally sleeping outside in tents. And brothers are reading scripture together, sisters are reading scripture together, we're laughing, we're talking, and it's like a beautiful utopia. And everybody, sisters with their head wraps. I mean, it is so beautiful. We have parties, we have music. Christ said, the scripture says we could drink, but you just don't get drunk with wine. So I'm not a drinker like that anyway. But brothers are having drinks, sisters having drinks, and just having a beautiful time honoring, the Most High. So when we do tabernacles, it's the best experience I've ever had in my entire life. So I could only imagine being able to live like that every single day. I would love that. I don't care what country it is, but yes, I would love that.
13 minutes to the top of the hour. 13 minutes on this Make It Happen Monday. Of course, the news that broke this weekend. I actually got a birthday call from Brother Fatim. He was calling to wish my better half happy birthday, and he said, "Brother, it's breaking news. It's breaking news." And I was like, "What's going on?" Because we were really just quietly had made it back from somewhere to eat. Hadn't even turned on the TV. Hadn't We were just kind of sitting, just having a conversation. And when he said what he said, I said, "This can't be it." When I turned on the TV, I said, "Oh my God." I said, Bedlam has broke loose. So, of course, as you know, um, the RNC is getting ready to have their convention where they will announce who the nominee for the Republican Party for president will be. It is more than likely going to be former President Donald J. Trump, who this weekend there was an assassination attempt on his life. In the assassination attempt, an individual who was a partaker of the rally, who was innocent, died. Two other people were critically injured. They're still in the hospital. Our prayers go out for them, because nobody should go to exercise whatever God-given rights they have been given and have to deal with senseless gun violence, because that's what that was. Senseless gun violence. Just like what happened in Buffalo, New York with senseless gun violence, what happened this weekend with senseless gun violence. And we have to start getting individuals in place in politics who do the proper policies that can prevent this to the utmost, because right now things are so loosey-goosey. That's the reason why things like this can happen. And we need to get people who will put the proper policies in place to make this place a better place. So it is 11 minutes to the top of the hour. I don't know about y'all, but boss, I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
Boss, I am
You
tired.
tired? Tired for what?
I'm just tired, boss. It's been a draining weekend. It's been a good weekend, but it's been draining, especially once the news cycle kicked up and all this happened. It was really a draining weekend. So I did have a great weekend with my better half. We celebrated her. It's real funny. Uh, we're about to elect the 47th president, and she celebrated her 47th Earth Day. So 47 seems to be the number. So I'm just
My
thankful
number.
that 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 I got the grand opportunity to be with the one I love on her special day of celebration of when she arrived here 47 years ago. And with that being said, I still go back to my grandson and the birth on the 9th of this month of Jordan Quest Anderson, which I am just so proud that he is here. Unfortunately, he's not home because they don't have power at their house in Houston, but he is doing fine. Thank God that his father has a family member that has power, and they are at his auntie's house, and everything is going well. But listen, family, once again, pay attention, please, please. We talk a lot, we say a lot, but pay attention, because there are people with no power in Houston, Texas, in this sweltering heat right now. So, Sister Jax, give me some closing words. Let's get ready to get up out of here.
Yes, it was great listening and watching and chatting with everybody today. May everybody have a blessed, productive day. It's Monday. May you see it through to the next week, and beyond that. So if nobody told you today they love you, I love you. Jax loves you. Be blessed, be strong, be safe, and start preparing for your preparedness act. Have a good one, y'all. See you tomorrow, Lord's will.
Where's Jax? I want to give a couple of shout outs since this weekend. First of all, again, another shout out to Joe's wife, his better half, and I call her Sister D. She gave me a couple of choices, so I like D. So I call her Sister D. Birthday to your wife, Joe. Again, shout out to my cousins. They're like sisters to me. Pat, D, Debbie, and Julie. We traveled together to their father's side, to Baltimore this weekend for their family. Great time. Got a chance. My daughter came down from New York for Tia, my oldest daughter, and we got a chance to hang out a little bit and did this whole thing. Matter of fact, Friday night we played spades. This was not. They have a tournament that Saturday night. Friday we played spades. So I played two games. Anybody knows about spades? The first game, spade player, we won. The second game, we won. But in this game, we played a guy against a gentleman that is really good in spades, and he said he's never seen this happen. Not that it hasn't happened; it's happened, but he's just never seen it, and I've never seen it happen. Me and my partner bid 2 10s twice in the same game and got that. So no, I'm not a bid whist player, but for 2 10s in the spades, that was interesting. Then Saturday came and we had a spades tournament. So me and my partner was undefeated. There was another team that was undefeated, but we went against a team that had lost one game, and they gave us a loss. And since they gave us the loss, if we would have won that game, then we would have won against the undefeated team, then we would have been undefeated. Since they gave us a loss, they gave it to the undefeated team, so they would have won. My cousins or partners were runners up with just one loss. So I had a great time. So I just want to give a shout out to that and just thankful for life. And I don't really have much to say. Just wishing everybody well, and hopefully everybody have a great day, great week, and we'll just see, what goes forward. But folks, like Joe says, stay awake, pay attention, because things are happening right under your eyes. A lot of people don't even turn their television on to see what's going on. You need to know what's going on.
Yes, and I'm gonna need Brother Fatim to check his mic. I don't know. I want him to go back and listen to this, especially toward the end. I don't know what was happening there, but at the end, I don't know if it's a directional mic or all of a sudden you hit a setting and it became a directional mic. But it is what it is. Family, it is 6 minutes to the top of the hour, and it has been Make It Happen Monday. We've had a lot of conversation. Once again, our prayers our condolences, our hope for a better tomorrow, to the victims who suffered at the Trump rally, to those who were there who were probably traumatized. Our prayers go out to you because no one should have to suffer senseless gun violence in this country for any reason. Uh, Political violence of any type or violence of any type should not be tolerated, nor should it happen. Be better today. Please be better today than you were yesterday. Do something today that can be a blessing to someone somewhere, that no matter what you say or do, um, it can help them. And you're not looking for payment back for it. You're not doing it for a photo op to put on Facebook. You're just doing it from your heart because you know that what you're doing is good for humanity. Always remember as I get ready to get up out of here, that there is no secret, absolutely no secret, what God can do, what he has done for others. He will and he can do for you. For when God is with you, nothing or no one can stand against you. Be blessed. Have a great one. We'll be back tomorrow. It will be Tell the Truth Tuesday. We up out of here. Y'all be blessed. Have a great week. Peace.
Hey, I need you to be about we. If you put a limit on your love, then count me. Girl, I know my selfish ways be OD, but I just express in ways you don't see. Yeah, and you should know that I'm about you. If this ain't the way to love, then show me how to. Cause I'm not afraid of breaking all rules. I say what I sound, say it to sound cool. And I'm not the type to settle up. You know my level up, nothing about me regular. Girl, I can get it on my own, I'm forever up. But I'd rather have you hold me down like a Reddit does. Are you the type to stick around for whatever comes? I'm not no nigga you just found, I'm a one-on-one. Yes, it might be some ups and downs, but I never run. It might be later, might be now, but it's more to come. Said it's more to come. I need you to be about me. If you put a limit on your love, then count me. Girl, I know my selfish ways be OD, but I just express in ways you don't see. Yeah, and you should know that I'm about you. If this ain't the way to love, then show me how to. Cause I'm not afraid of breaking all rules. I say what I sound, say it to sound cool. Hey, you know they can't distract me, better not distract you. Might spin the block, but you the one I double back to. This ain't no joke, I got that dope, you might attract you. Don't want no smoke when I'm the folk, I'd rather match you. Respectfully, you be checking me, I get at you. A little crazy, but baby, don't be irrational. Ay, I just talk a little different, so you understand, though. It ain't never no pressure that we can't handle. I need you to be about we. If you put a limit on your love, then count me. Girl, I know my selfish ways be OD, but I just express in ways you don't see. Yeah, and you should know that I'm about you. If this ain't the way to love, then show me how to. Cause I'm not afraid of breaking all rules. I say what I sound, say it to sound cool. Oh, and you must be used to these lame ass niggas, always running game ass niggas. I ain't tryna paint that picture. If I had it my way, I would be cozy in the Maybach with you, acting like I ain't that nigga. Yeah, but you know what's up with me, and luckily you stuck with me. I need you to be about we. If you put a limit on your love, then count me. Girl, I know my selfish ways be OD, but I just express in ways you don't see. Yeah, and you should know that I'm about you. If this ain't the way to love, then show me how to. Cause I'm not afraid of breaking all rules. I say what I sound, say it to sound cool.